Hello, Star Wars Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, with two separate items. One kind of a unique one, which I'm going to get to first, and one from our friends at Entertainment Earth that I'm sure is one of my pre-orders. So we'll get to that one in a moment. So let's start with this one. This is from an Etsy sale. And an Etsy sale, for those who don't know if anyone is curious what Etsy is, it's an online, merchant shop, a place kind of like Amazon. However, it's more unique, more crafty, custom, personalized items in general. Although they do sell licensed items as well, but sellers there do a little bit more with, some with just different artisan type of things. So, what do I have? Well, I have this little pouch. And what's in this pouch? Well, you will see. You will see in just a moment. If I can actually open up the pouch. There we go. Inside of this, I'm glad I have my little table here, so I can my box serving as a table. All right, this is really cool. We have a whole series of what is essentially Greeblies. Now, what are Greeblies? Well, Greeblies are essentially just random little tiny pieces of stuff that that look like they would fit on Star Wars items. Like if you ever look at the size of a ship or the size of a panel in Star Wars, or what's laying on top or placed on top of a desk or a console or anything. There are usually all of these really unique items. So what this is essentially are when George Lucas was designing Star Wars, he essentially was challenging his artisans and his production designers saying, you need to make it look like there's got to be buttons and switches and knobs and things that have a purpose, but we don't have to know what that purpose is. They don't have to actually function. And there needs to be just all sorts of different things on there to give it that lived-in look, and that there is some kind of a use for it. So on Etsy, there was an Etsy seller that had a whole series of different little things, and they would sell them in a little pack. So there's things like this, something of this nature, which could serve as a badge. You could put a little magnet on the end and make a badge. It could serve as something you can put on the side of. You could put it on the side of some of your, if you have something you're carrying around, like a backpack or something on your wrist, something like that. This is just little kind of random objects, probably things that you can find in a hardware store. That's what they did in the old days. They just found junk and they kind of created this kind of stuff. And this is all unique. This is not something that is, retailed the same. I mean, these artisans probably make a bunch of these, and no two are alike, or very few of them are alike. So, and some of these maybe also be 3D printed, so you can actually have them all you can design whatever you want in kind of a design space, and then print it, 3D printing, and have it either resin or filament printed, and then you can paint it and put stuff together like that. So here's another one. There's a whole bunch in here. This is kind of cool. There's, I showed you this one briefly. It's kind of like a little thing. Now, some people, these are very basic. I mean, which is fine. I don't have a problem with basic. Some people have gotten very clever and, put little lighting things like little things that would light up and blink. Here's a cute one. Something of that nature. Now, why did I get these? Well, as if anybody who's watched this channel will know, we are once again planning for our trip to the Halcyon and the Galactic Star Cruiser down in Walt Disney World in Florida. And we had planned on going, and I was going to have a whole video about it and talk about it and show all the stuff that we got from it and everything else. And it was canceled because of Hurricane Nicole. So they rescheduled it for us. We chose to do it in the summer just because we have a lot going on between November and the summer. So we just decided to push it off until then. And they actually moved it for us at half the price, which is really good. I mean, I do recognize that it's very expensive, so we did not mind the change there. Here's another one while I'm talking about it. It's a nice little, that definitely, that looks a little more Star Warsy than even other things do. So anyway, so then we had a little bit of time, but in addition to us pushing off our trip and going later at half the price, we were able to add our daughter to it. There was just two of us on the trip. Well, we had two us and two friends, adult friends, that we were going to go together. And because of this change, and when it is, we decided that we were going to invite our kids along. They're all adult children, and for my wife and I, it's easy. We just, the three of us, and for my friends, they have three adult children. I mean, when I say adult, I mean two. They're all college age, basically, and they are going to join them on their trip too. So it's going to be a fun time. They're real into this kind of adventure type thing. Here's an interesting one. It looks like this was 3D printed. Maybe not. It could have just been something they put together. Maybe they were 3D printing other things and decided to kind of trim the stuff together and make one item. So that's cool. Here's a little standard, something a little bit different, just something like that. So these are all things that you can actually, permanently glue to pieces of costume. You can put them on all sorts of things. Oh, look at this one. This is cool. I mean, it's definitely very crafty. I mean, you can tell in the back here that these were painted. But this is really cool, and it was not very expensive. I think I paid maybe $35 for all of these. So it's a lot of artisan work here. So check out Etsy, and when you can just type in Greeblies, Greeeblies, and you can get a lot of people with individual things that light up, bigger things. Some people have like big consoles that they build and you can put on your wall. Like if you have a Star Wars collection and you want to have a little panel on the side. This one's interesting. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this one, unless it's supposed to go on, maybe it came unglued and it's supposed to go here or something, but this is just like a little canister. I don't know if it's supposed to be on top of this or something, because it looks like there could be some glue. Like I said, this could have come from just, or it could just be a model piece. So think about that. When they were making this model ship, when they were making the ships like the Star Destroyer, the surface of the Death Star, all the big, Millennium Falcon back in the 70s, they were kit bashing. They were taking old model kits of battleships and fighter jets and things of that nature and just taking the whole little tray of different pieces of the model and using them separately like that. So that's definitely what this probably is. And then two items that I thought were kind of cool was that, let's see if I can get this one unraveled here. Looks like the Mandalorian skull symbol. You kind of have a little necklace there. It's kind of cool, right? I don't want to put it on because I know this is going to interfere with this, but that's a cool thing to put on. And then here's something fun, a little bit of dice. I already have some Han Solo dice, but this is a nice little setup there, so that's kind of cool. All right, so while I'm putting this away, I want to share my thoughts. Recently, Disney had announced that they are canceling some Halcyon voyages, and they are instead not canceling all of them, just canceling some of them, trying to steer everybody to take on one thing. So that they'd rather have one. If they had voyages running the entire week, they would rather have maybe 2 voyages instead of 3 and cancel one of them and put them into one of the other, so they would have 2 full voyages as opposed to 3 kind of half full, which, I understand. From a business perspective, that does make sense. I do realize that does pose a challenge for the people that are working on the Star Cruiser, which I understand there's been some hubbub with that, and that two of the starter actors that have started the thing are no longer going to be in there. They have resigned. Although I do believe, from what I've been reading, that this kind of works like cruise ship setup, where if you are entertainment on a cruise, you work a contract and then you can renew that contract or you can move on. They've chosen to move on to do something else. I think one person said they're still working for Disney, but just in another format. I don't know about the other one. I'm disappointed because I watched some of the videos of these actors, and one of them in particular, I thought was an amazing actor, and I would have loved to take part in this adventure with that actor on board, knowing full well that I might not have had a chance to anyway, because, you know, these people they go on a schedule, and then they're off, then they're on, then they're off. So who knows? I could have had someone else. But at the same time, I think that some people are choosing to use this again as a thing to say the Halcyon is a failure, and they want to get their clickbait and say what they want to say. But if you talk to people who have done the Halcyon, more often than not, you will get a very positive reaction to what they have accomplished there. They have been doing something that no one has even dared try to do, and I don't think anybody had any aspirations of this being something that was going to be something that's going to run forever exactly as it is without some adjustments taking place. And of course, you know, there was that first round of things for like 6 months where it was pretty much sold out. But then, you know, after that, the initial allure of it, the newness of it started to wear off, and all the people that wanted to do it are no longer, you know, interested in doing it. The new people have done it. Now they're on to the next thing. Now, I think that Disney understands this, and they collect a lot of data, and that they're going to work really hard to try to. Right now, it's just about, you know, pulling back and setting up a voyage, a Star Cruiser voyage that's going to make more sense in terms of how much they do. I would not envy. I mean, as someone who's had some acting experience, I do not envy any of the actors for having to be on this ship and do this kind of, you know, LARPing role play adventure for 2 full days, and have to remember people's names and be on it for like 48 hours. I mean, I know they're not sleeping there, but they do put a lot of hours in. So I'm sure it's not something that they're going to be able to have some people stay the whole time over and over and over again. There's going to be a turnaround of actors, you know. And having said that, I will say that I, like many people, are a little bit concerned about the price. It is very expensive. I did now get to go for half price, so now to me this feels more appropriate. The half price, I would probably go a little more than half, probably pay a little more than half of what I was paying, only because I know what I'm getting for that price. I think it's very much worth some, you know, it's certainly worth a lot of dollars to spend, but what they were offering, what they were charging, I felt might have been a little bit too much. And I think if they pulled back a little bit and maybe still have like slightly less voyages, like, you know, not make them every single day, but make them make 2 a week, or at the most, well, I think there are 3 a week, right? Because I think the way it works, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if they moved it to 2 a week, or even 1 a week and 2 a week, you know, depending on when time of the year, I think that would work better. I don't know if that's something that actors can afford to work at full time, but that they should make it so that they could. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it still. I cannot wait. And if they do, hopefully someday lower the price, perhaps this might be something I'll have a repeat doing. So enough talk about this. It's been 13 minutes on this video. Let's go into my slightly larger entertainment box, but feeling the weight, I'm not sure what it's going to be. We'll see. Oh, I know what this is. This is the Dark Trooper. Oh, but it isn't just one Dark Trooper. It isn't just 2 Dark Troopers. And it isn't just 3 Dark Troopers. No, I ordered a full 4 Dark Troopers. Why? Well, I'm just making sure there's nothing in here. Okay. Why did I do that? Because I want to keep one in the package, okay, which I will do, and I will fondly place it in my spot down here with all my other vintage looking stuff, although it's probably going to fall. So, but then I want to put it together with the 3 to line them up. That was one of the few times I wanted to do that. So this is an unboxing. So let's enjoy the Dark Trooper. You know, I think I'm going to kind of do all 3. Of course, this is the boxed stuff. You know, everything is set up. Ooh, but I do miss. Oh, I do love the old instructions. I'll probably keep at least one box. Oh, it's so much easier to open up. I'm going to just... So there's our... It's interesting. Okay, so there is the figure. And I love they're doing like... I don't know if you can... I don't know. Oh, yeah. See the eyes? They had adopted a little effect from the Jawas back in the 90s with this little clear piece of red there, clear plastic, to allow the figures to have a natural, without having to put batteries in them, a natural glow. Look at that. Oh my God, that is so cool. This is a great, great figure. Seems to bend okay. But of course, it isn't just the figure. No, no, no. It is more than that. It is also, of course, they taped it shut, so I have to work on this too. There we go. Looks like we have our, okay, we have a few of our things here. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you this. It has, I'll put one together, okay, so you guys can all see me do that. Okay, so there's, we have this, and then we have a little, we kind of connect it here. It's like a little charging port. I will say it's a bit, you know, reminiscent, if you will, of the, am I doing this right? Yeah, it's a little reminiscent of the old Borg charging stations there from Star Trek, the old Next Generation, which, again, I'm also a Trek fan, I will say. Very excited about Picard. You know, getting the band back together, okay? So then you set this up, and then you have your little figure guy do that, okay? Now, he also includes, I just want, before I get too wrapped up in this, he's got these, do I only have one of them? Let me just make sure. Oh, there's the other. Okay. Looks like he's got these little kind of catch-all. Let me pull these apart for a minute. He's got these little catch-all hooks that I think are meant to be, you know, just so that you can just stand the figure up, which I love. But the question is, I wonder if, I have a feeling I'm supposed to run it through the back. Yeah, it says I'm supposed to push it forward, but I don't know, man. This seems rather challenging. So I don't know. My light is a little darker above me now, so it's hard to make out here. Come on. I'm going to try something a little a little inventive. I'm going to try to run this from the back through. Yeah, I think that worked better. So maybe not. Oh, I think I have to steer it a certain way. Steer it straight up. All right, there we go. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Looks like I'm going to need some kind of a tool to get them. Yeah, it works. It's kind of there. All right, so what I'm going to do, let me pause the video, and I will see what I'm saying. Like, I'm having trouble getting this to stay in. Let me see if I can. I might have to get a tool to work on this, but let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay. There we are. Okay, we have our 3 dark troopers lined up. For some reason, oh, there we go. One of them seemed a little taller than the rest, but I was able to adjust that. And they come with these little shells that you can build around them, and you can either have them freestanding, right, by themselves, or you can kind of connect them and have you have a few extra panels left over. I suppose you could just build all 3 panels separately and then line them up next to each other. You have that option as well. This is really cool, and those little hooks, I finally figured out how to get in there. They do kind of hold them in place, which is really nice. What I wasn't a big fan of is they had the little side kind of thing in their thigh to insert a rifle, like to kind of just hold it in place. But that worked about as well as you would think a tiny little piece of plastic would fit in a tiny little piece of plastic. There was just not a lot of stuff there, so it just kept falling out. I'm also not 100% sure where to put the. They came with little gas, you know, like thrusters. Thank you. They came with like fuel thrusters when you see them flying at the end of the episode where they, spoiler alert, kidnap Grogu. So I'm not exactly sure how to put them on. I didn't really monitor. I didn't want to display them like that. I really wanted to display 3 of them like this, which is exactly what we got, and it's really good. The only downside is because they're now their heads are kind of protected from any above light. You can't see their glowing eyes, so you have to kind of you take them off the little hinge to do that. But all this time I've been talking, and they're staying on there, so that's really good. The figure themselves really great. I hope they make a Black Series. I know they made the Black Series figure. I hope they make a Black Series version of the container, maybe as a deluxe thing somewhere. I'm sure that's not going to be too hard to do, but real excited about it. So, bravo Hasbro, something new, something different. I'm excited about it. A new sculpt, and I hope to see more. I have kind of given up. I don't want to say I've given up on Hasbro, but I've kind of, I've pulled back my expectations, and I'm just expecting, not that the figures are going to be bad in any way, nothing of that nature, just that, we have a lot of repaints, a lot of repacks. I know money, and things cost money, and they don't want to spend money, they want to make money. So they, that's, some people say they're giving us less and less and charging us more and more, and I can't 100% disagree with that. I don't think it's fully that way. I think that there is a little bit of wiggle room for some improvements for them to, and things that they are doing well and give them compliments for, but things that they could do better. And we'll see where the future of collecting brings us. Okay, I don't know how many people purchase this. I can tell you that if you don't purchase these things, they're just not going to make them anymore. Okay, that's the long and short of it. So while I am pulling back on my collecting, I haven't stopped altogether. I will continue to make purchases of a lot. The entire vintage line, vintage collection. I am there. Black Series, I am picking and choosing. So we'll see where that goes. All right, so that'll do it. This is a bit of a longer kind of talking episode. Sorry for those who don't like that. Check out all my episodes, folks. If this one didn't resonate with you, I'm sure others might. So until next time, folks, be sure to check me out on all Instagram and Twitter at Darth Tuba. Check out the more recent WDW radio podcast hosted by Lou Mangello, where they discuss the music of Disney's Hollywood studios, for which Star Wars is a big part. Therefore, I am a big part because I got myself onto that episode to be one of the people discussing in the panel about that music. So I hope you guys enjoy that. If you have given it a listen, I think part 2 is coming out this week at the point of this video being recorded. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.